Some guy who can hit a little bit is Steven Quan. We're going to dive in a little more into Steven Quan after two quick reads. Summer sports are in full swing, whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get it on the game while your friends are getting sunburnt at the beach. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and win $150 in bonus bets if their first bet wins. Open up the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. Today's show is also brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, in practicing every detail to get the best results, but no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. And at Epicor, the all-stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices, from small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global visions. We'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way, because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most out of every hard-working minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier finds the lane. Discover your success at easierwithepicor.com. All right, guys. Jeff Passan, Cleveland native, put out his list of the top 50 trade prospects for the upcoming MLB trade deadline, and 3 Guardians made their way into the top 10. Number 1 on the list was Eugenio Suarez, who he put
Eugenio.
What did I say?
Eugenio.
What is it?
It's Eugenio.
Eugenio Suarez, who he put at a 90% chance to get traded at the deadline. The percentage next to these guys' names is the percentage chance, Jeff Passan says, of them actually being dealt. But Steven Quan, who was not on this list in version 1.0, is now number 2, the second best available trade player on the market potentially, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan. Only a 20% chance to get traded. Clase and Cade Smith also in the top 10, 7 and 9 respectively, with a 20%. We'll talk about Clase and Smith at a later point. We're going to focus on Steven Quan for this discussion. But 20%, Bull. I want 2 parts of this question. A, is 20% the right percentage chance you think the Guardians could move him?
Yeah.
And B, should the Guardians even be considering? Should they even have a 20% marker next to his name? Should he even be on the list? Or is any conversation about potentially trading Steven Quan just frankly silly?
No, I don't think you should ever be closed-minded to any potential trade. I mean, Quan's a very good player, but he's not a superstar. He's been an all-star. I don't know that he really deserved it. He even questioned whether he deserved it. So I would 100% be open-minded to trading him in the right deal. I probably wouldn't trade him because I'm probably not going to get a deal that I would like to trade him, but I would always be open-minded to trading almost anybody. If you're a GM of a team, you have to be open-minded to at least listening on almost any player. I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. That being said, it would take a lot for me to trade Quan. I probably wouldn't do it. They probably won't do it. I'd be very surprised if they end up trading him right now. I think it's more likely if they trade him, it happens this winter rather than right now. So I think 20% is about right. I would say even less than that. I'll be very surprised if he does get traded. I would have said more like 10%. I'm surprised he and Clase and Smith are all the same percentage, because my guess is Clase is the most likely of the 3 to get traded. But I don't think any of them are going to get traded in the end. I think they're going to stick with all of them and maybe trade one of them in the offseason. But no, I don't think it's wrong that they're listening. And Jeff Passan obviously is connected. Anytime there's a story with the Guardians, he breaks the news pretty much always. He's from here. Clearly, he's got a relationship. My guess is he's got a relationship. Well, I'm not going to say he's got a relationship with. It doesn't matter. But he know if he's saying 20%, then he's right. Then there's a chance. That's not coming out of nowhere. He heard from somebody in the organization that they would trade Quan or Clase or Smith if the price were right. That being said, the price for all 3 of those guys is going to be very high, and so ultimately I don't think they'll get traded.
This is a middle ground for me. It's like crazy because it's like, you go back to it and you look at the Guardians as a whole, and you look at the way they do business and the way they operate business. I actually think that the way they operate in business is starting to wear on people. I think it's wearing on. I think it wore on Tito. I think it wore on some of the other guys, Antonetti and Shapiro, and a lot of the other guys that move up and churn off, and it wears on you because you're always, like Tyvis is saying, you always got to be the spin doctor. You don't want getting on these jets going to talk to people about how you got to operate, and man, it's hard ordering a restaurant. And you always automatically, the waiter is coming back from the back talking about, hey man, we ain't got that. We got to get that off the list. We didn't order that this week. How you gonna run a top 5 in a 5-star restaurant? You can't do it. So I think Vogt gets a little bit tired of it. And when you have a team where you only got a couple of ball players to start with, and it's like, okay, we got Clase, we got Shane Bieber, we got Quan, Cade Smith is now on that list. And the only person that we don't talk about is Jose, because he signed that lifetime peace treaty. He gave him all the money back. They say, hey, we're going to let Jose sit over here. But everybody else, it's a revolving door. Think about it. It has to be slightly annoying that your best 4 players are always in a conversation of, we need to move this person. Instead of being like, hey, who's available to bring in to bolster what we got going?
Right.
Out of 9 out of 10, you won 9 out of 10. I'll give it to him. I don't think it's sustainable, but at least, if you were 9 out of 10 and the organization say, hey, bro, listen, y'all get to over 500. We get to 1 game back. We gonna make moves. People will be excited.
Yeah.
At least they didn't throw the red flag in. But when you hear Quan's name after the All-Star, people get mad at him for playing an All-Star game. It's just like, it's kind of deflating a little bit, Tyvis.
Part of it is baseball in general. There's an issue. Right, baseball is going to deal with this. We're going to have a work stoppage after next year. There's going to be a lockout. They may, if the owners really dig in,
on this
we might lose an entire season. I think we'll see if the owners go all in fighting for a cap. The players are not going to agree to it, and we may have no baseball for an entire year. I hate to say it, but I think we could be headed. Now, I'm not convinced that the owners will be in unity about it, because if you're the Yankees owner, the Dodgers, the Mets, even the Cubs, Phillies, and some of these other, do you really want a cap? Do you want a hard cap? I don't know. The small market teams do. But if you're going to have a cap, you got to have a floor. Mm-hmm. The floor is the bigger issue.
I thought that's the biggest part, the floor.
That's the biggest hit. Now, part of it is a baseball problem. Part of it is a Dolan problem, not just him. There's other owners in the league like him. But part of it is him. He will use, and the small market owners use the baseball inequity as an excuse not to spend. Because they could spend more, and nobody could convince me otherwise. And yes, who's really, when you say people are getting sick of it, I think of the fans. Because I think the diehard fans, the Guardians diehards that I know, and I know a lot of them, are more pissed at the organization now than I've seen in the entire 14 years I've been living here. I've never seen them this pissed. The diehards. The casuals is one thing. You got the diehards pissed off, that's a problem.
It just wears on you because you never get part of all sports, right? Yeah. The reason why this show is great, and we can sit up here for 25 minutes and argue about which quarterback is going to be, is because we're emotionally charged and invested in it, right? There's a faction of the community that probably feels that each one of these quarterbacks should start, or a faction that believes that Chase DeLauder should be up here. This is the reason
he should be.
That's the emotion of what we talk about and why the show is great. But if you think about it, you, at least in other sports, you got a runway to grow feelings for somebody and attachment to him.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion, I said, well, look, they just signed Tanner Bybee. You got Gavin Williams and Bybee. They were really excited about him, right? I said, only one of them I'm going to get some money. So when Bybee signed, that just means Gavin Williams won.
Yeah, and you're 100% right, and it's frustrating when you can't rely on guys being here for a long time. It's like, well, I know he wanted to leave, whatever, but Myles Garrett's going to play his whole career here.
Right.
Nick Chubb, I know he's going somewhere else now, but played all his good years here.
But you got a runway of 7-9 years.
Yeah.
The way the Guardians work, half the time you can't get attached to them because they in the minors for 5 years.
That's a fact.
Then when they get here, you're like, oh, well, Like, because this was last year when Quan was batting 400 or something.
Yeah.
And then we're like, you know what? It's a shame. I was sitting here listening to you and Jason talk. He's like, it's a shame, you know, he's going to have to at least hit like, you know, 15, 20 home runs. It's a shame we're not going to have him back and be able to sign him. I said, what you mean you can't sign him?
Yeah.
They're like,
They should be able to.
they're not going to do that.
Because y'all keep saying he don't hit home runs like that, so like his numbers is not going to be that crazy. But I don't think he's going to take a discount. My thing with the whole Steven Quan trade is I wouldn't trade him at the deadline. No, I wouldn't. I would finish this year. I'll continue to work a contract and see if we could come up with an agreement. And by next year's deadline, if y'all can't come up with nothing, then I would trade him at next year's deadline. But this year, I would keep him. I mean, I'm not about to just get rid of everybody on my team like now.
Yeah.
Like, especially when they actually are playing good right now. Like that to me is waving the flag. Remember Tito's last year when they was like it was like they was close. They was right there in it, and then at the deadline they
it was
sold.
the right move.
I understand it, but they sold at the deadline, and everybody was like, like that's exactly what happened.
By the way, part of the thing with Quan here, and Zach mentioned this during the show yesterday, and he's right. We saw this with Lindor before. I think part of the reason fans are getting mad at Steven Quan is because we do this with the Guardians players. Yep. When we think the player's going to leave, we start saying he's not as good.
Yep. You start backtracking
we
on that.
We did it on Lindor.
It's human emotion.
All of a sudden, everybody was like, "Well, Josh Naylor's not that good."
Listen. Kyrie Irving was okay, but he missed that one time in the finals when we were 15. We start walking that back quick. Like,
we don't.
You get a divorce, bro. You be like, listen, man, you know what? We wasn't even in love like that.
Yeah.
You know, we was just cool together.
I don't.
Your sister's
Kyrie
hotter.
was that deal back then. He that deal today.
You know, it sucks to say this, but I think fans are already starting to be like, they get the feeling like, hey, this looks like he's going to be out of here.
Yeah.